Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lori Matson, President and CEO of the Tri-City Regional Chamber. I'd like to welcome you to today's highly anticipated program, Lunch with Brad Tilden, CEO of Alaska Air Group. We're thrilled for the opportunity to host today's event, bringing a Fortune 500 CEO to the Tri-Cities. I'd like to personally welcome and thank you, Mr. Tilden, for accepting our invitation and taking time from your extremely busy schedule to visit the Tri-Cities and share the fantastic story of Alaska Airlines. As you can imagine, these types of opportunities don't just happen. I'd also like to thank Candace Payne and others from Alaska Airlines for working with us since last summer to bring this event to fruition. I'd also like to thank Don Miller and his marketing team at GISA Credit Union for jumping at the opportunity to sponsor this unique program. A little later in the program, you'll hear about the many awards and accolades that Brad Tilden has received over the last few years for his leadership at Alaska Airlines. I was particularly interested to read that last fall, he was named the 2016 incoming board chair for the Seattle Metropolitan Chamber, where he will bring his collaborative leadership style and out-of-the-box thinking to his role at the Chamber. I'm sure you've all heard by now that Alaska Airlines is giving away 2 round-trip tickets to 1 lucky person today. The winner will be announced at the end of the luncheon. Hopefully you all dropped your business card in the fishbowl, but you'll have another chance before we draw. And thank you so much, Alaska Air, for this generous donation. So if you could please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. As I mentioned, today's luncheon is sponsored by GISA Credit Union. GISA is a great chamber partner sponsoring and supporting many key events and initiatives. We're pleased that Don Miller, the President and CEO, has joined us today to participate in our program. So please help me welcome Don Miller.
Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. Thank you Lori and her staff for coordinating this event. The Tri-City Regional Chamber, and I want to recognize them. They work really hard to support and be the voice for our local businesses, and they do a great job of it. At GISA, we partner with them because we believe that supporting the local businesses and helping them be successful and grow helps our community be successful and grow. At GISA, we aim to be the trusted partner for our members and our communities, not just one or the other. We think it's important to be a trusted partner for both. Credit unions are a cooperative, and at GISA we strive and aim really hard to have a strong culture of people helping people. We support many organizations in the community with lots of different purposes. For example, Safe Harbor House and My Friend's Place, they support homeless teens. We partner with Junior Achievement because we realize the importance of providing financial literacy to our youth so that when they're adults, they can make good, strong financial decisions in adulthood. And these are just 2 of the many organizations that we support in the community. We often ask our members, as we're supporting or partnering with one of these organizations, we'll ask our members oftentimes, join us and we'll do some matching. And that's just been overwhelmingly positive received by our membership. My Friend's Place last year or the year before, we were able to hand them a check for over $90,000 that our members in the community got behind to help that organization. So again, people helping people, that's what we're about. I want to close by thanking Lori and her staff. It takes a lot of work to coordinate this. Thanks, Brad, for coming to speak with us today, and just enjoy the meeting today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dawn, and thanks for everything you do in the community. And I'd also like to just give a special thank you to Brian Griffith and Angie Brotherton. You're always so great to work with. We appreciate that. Each month, our Awards and Recognition Committee selects a member business to recognize as our Outstanding Member of the Month. And we're pleased to announce Smooth Moves, LLC, as our February's Outstanding Member. Since 2003, Smooth Moves has assisted hundreds of businesses and individuals with successful and smooth-moving relocation services. Their business philosophy involves more than just boxing up stuff and transporting it. They aim to serve the community with professionalism and high regard for the safety of your belongings. The team at Smooth Moves consists of highly qualified, motivated, and professional individuals who are eager to meet the needs of their customers and be involved in the community. So please help me welcome Kenny Teasdale, owner, and Sherry Strong, Public Relations Manager, who also was our 2014 Ambassador of the Year, up on stage to accept your award. All right, our board chair, Marty Conger, had to be out of town today and had to miss our luncheon, but we're fortunate to have a deep bench with solid backup. So please help me welcome Ron Boninger, the past chair of our Regional Chamber Board of Directors from 2015, who will lead us through the rest of our program. Ron?
Yeah, so old chairs never go away. They just become pinch hitters and keep hosting luncheons. But I'm really honored to be here, especially with this special event with Brad Tilden joining us. The Regional Chamber's continued mission is to serve as the voice of business for our community. We cannot be that voice without the 1,176 member businesses, by the way, that specific number I'll come back to in a bit, that help make this organization great. Today we are very fortunate to welcome new members to the Chamber. Please help me welcome our Marketing and Membership Director, Elizabeth Holt, to introduce our newest members.
I'm a little shorter. Thanks, Ron. Like Ron said, I'm excited to be up here today to announce some of the Chamber's newest members. So if I call your name, please approach the stage. Ron will hand you your membership plaque and we'll pose for a group photo. First, we have Dana Shinpaw, Jamie Saldana, and Chris Pauling with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Central Washington Real Estate Company. David Fetto with Wells Fargo Home Mortgage. Susan Lee with Mary Kay. Randy Johnson with RX Pharmacy. Andrea Riggs with Tri-Cities Pregnancy Network. Nikki Berglund and Teddy Mahaffey with Vibe Salon and Spa. Jason and Megan Simonis with Columbia Basin Plumbing. Steve Schwan with Help You Move. David Spalding with Liberation Bike Shop. And Steve Hussey with People's Bank. Please join me in welcoming these new members. So we're glad they can make it. If you see them, please introduce yourself and welcome them. Next, we would like to recognize some of the Chamber's longest standing members. These members have been involved with the Chamber for 20 years or longer. Payne West Insurance, Port of Benton, United Way, Banner Bank, Wild Horse Resort and Casino, Goodwill Industries, JUB Engineers, Marple and Marple, Brookdale Richland, Farrell Gas, ALP Financial Planning, Pacific Cataract and Laser Institute, Horn Rapids Golf and Country Club, Track Center, and Tri-Cities Licensing. We appreciate your participation with the Chamber. Please help me give these members a round of applause.
Thanks, Elizabeth, and welcome to all our new members. We really appreciate the support and look forward to serving you with all of our different programs. And I'm going to come back to the 1,176 real quick. This is the year we want to get to 1,200 members. We got 24 to go, so I want everyone in this audience to think about people that might be members. And when you think about it, think about all the services that the Chamber offers, which are business after hours, learn groups, ribbon cutting ceremonies for our members, PTAC for government contracting. Good Health is good business, economic gardening. There's a lot of other programs and this luncheon. So what you pay for the chamber, we feel we give back in a ton of value. So we're really hoping to crack that 1,200, which for the Tri-Cities is truly an amazing number. So before I introduce our keynote speaker, I want to let the audience know that we have reserved time after the presentation for Q&A. We'd like to ask that you wait for one of the roaming microphones to reach you before asking your question. This ensures that Brad Tilden and the entire audience can hear your question. Now I'd like to introduce Brad. Brad Tilden is a 25-year veteran of the airline. He previously served as Executive Vice President, CFO, and Corporate Controller. Before joining Alaska, Brad spent 8 years with the accounting firm Price Waterhouse in Seattle, in Australia. Alaska Airlines and its sister carrier, Horizon Air, fly to 114 destinations throughout the United States, Canada, Mexico, and Costa Rica. Brad leads a team of 15,200 employees who provide, hands down, the best customer service and on-time performance of any U.S. airline. Under Brad's leadership, Alaska has received a number of accolades, including leading on-time performance 5 years running, being one of only 2 U.S. airlines that have an investment-grade credit rating. That's amazing. Ranking as the most fuel-efficient airline for 5 years in a row, earning its 8th straight J.D. Power Award for highest customer satisfaction, and being named among the top 100 of America's best employers by Forbes in 2015. That's truly an amazing list. Brad himself was ranked 22nd in the list of top 50 corporate leaders in America by Fortune magazine in 2015. He also has been recognized by the Puget Sound Business Journal as Executive of the Year and by the Boy Scouts of America as a Distinguished Eagle Scout. I love that one. Brad is a private pilot, earning his license while studying accounting at Pacific Lutheran University. In addition to holding a BA from Pacific Lutheran, Brad also earned his MBA from the University of Washington. And Brad, on a personal note, I have close family, brothers, sisters, parents, in-laws in LA, Phoenix, Chicago, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and Columbus. And I've traveled around the world for business and pleasure. Like so many people in attendance today, travel is a part of my life, which means Alaska Air is a part of my life. So many of my trips start with Alaska Air, and some are all Alaska, which I'm sure you appreciate. So your leadership, your dedication to excellence that I just described to create a great company touches our lives all the time. For that, I have the deepest respect, and I'm thankful. When I board Alaska Air, I do it with the confidence that the travel part of my life is in good hands, so I can focus on the other challenges I got, and there's a lot. Thank you for taking the time to be here, and thank you to those 15,200 employees that you lead that I know make it all happen. We really appreciate it.
One of the things about the airline business I need to say out of the gate is it is the ultimate team sport. It isn't about the boss or anything like that. It's one of the things we sort of believe is when people want to work together and be a good airline, they are. And it isn't about us coming up with policies. It's about us trying to create an environment where people do something good. And that's to the extent there were some good things said about our airline in the intro. I want to sort of put the credit where it belongs. Yeah, thank you. They deserve it. Thank you. I'm really happy to be here. I mean, what I hope we can do is have a bit of a conversation. You know, to me, the way you look at the world is there's always things that are going well. There's always things that you can work on and try to make better. And that's what the next conversation, the next little bit can be about. I'll try to tell you about some of our challenges, some of the things that are going well. But if you have questions during the Q&A, I hope you think of them and ask them, put them on the table. And there's actually lots of smart people from Alaska here that I'll call on to help me address them. But we are delighted to be here. I've been not in this building ever before, but I've been across the parking lot for volleyball tournaments many, many times, and have come to this region to enjoy some of your fabulous wines. And you guys have a lot going for you. Yeah, it's and you don't want to start that because you might get carried away, but. No, it's a lot of fun. I know that you've got the Department of Energy stuff, Hanford stuff, PNNL stuff, and In fact, I know that you have the highest PhDs per capita of any city in the state, which makes you a really intimidating audience. By far the smartest crowd that I've ever chatted with, but good for you is what I would say, and we're just delighted to be here. There's lots of good stuff going on. The Wazoo Wine Science Center, I'm sure that's something that's near and dear to your hearts. Ted Basler at Chateau Saint Michel, I know, is a huge advocate for wine science, winemaking, and I know he was a big part of that, but good for you. Elson Floyd, the late president of Wazoo, just a fantastic guy. Close to us at Alaska, I'm guessing close to many of you, but has been great for Wazoo and Pullman, great for Wazoo here, and it's neat to see. I know the biofuels initiative, that work that you do here is something that Alaska is proud to partner with all of you on. And it was fun to, I don't come through the Pasco airport all that often, but it was fun to come through it this morning and see the construction's underway there. And congratulations to everybody who's had anything to do with that. I know the project is on budget and on time, and it's being done in a way that's going to do nothing but enhance air service for all of you at Pasco for decades into the future. So good on you for that. The final thing I think I wanted to mention while we're sort of talking about Tri-Cities specifically is I know you guys care a lot about education. I was told about this Delta High School, the STEM high school, and we're really proud of you guys for doing that. Some of you may know that we've got some competition in Seattle. So if anyone's here from that school and you want ideas on alternate names, we're available for consulting. No, that's a joke. But good for you. I do think one of the things that businesses need to do is not sort of look at communities where we operate only for our short-term gain, but we need to give back. We need to be working on infrastructure and schools and the business, the business environment that we're operating in, and we need to do our part to help make business conditions good for people that come after us 20, 30, 40 years down the road. And education is a long lead time initiative. If Alaska works on education, or any of you guys work on education, you probably won't be there to see the benefits, but it's still something that we all need to do. Okay, so I thought I would chat a little bit about Alaska, and I'll just tell you some of the things, the way we see the industry that we're in, some of the initiatives we have, the things that we're working on, and I'm going to try to tell you the good and the bad, and I'll tell you our strategy, what we're working on, and then I really hope to sort of get through it in not too much time, because I'd love to see what's on your mind, what you're worried about, what you're interested in. We find that in situations like this, we can get a lot smarter, and we can come up with good ideas for things that we should be thinking about and working on, and so I'm hoping to spend some time doing that. Alrighty. Are there, you guys, do most of you fly Alaska a little bit? Okay, show of hands. Has it been okay? Is it good, bad? It's all right? Do I need to apologize for any lost bags or anything like that? If so, I do apologize. Thank you for your business. One of the things I'll sort of get into pretty early is that Alaska is, we actually are a Fortune 500 company, which that may sound large, but for an airline, that's actually quite small. We're a $5 billion company. The airline industry has consolidated. Our competitors are typically $40 billion companies. They've got enormous market power, political clout. It's one of the things that we're going up against. What we've got, I think, is doing things in a smaller and more personal way. And we've got extraordinarily loyal customers. And I want to thank you all for your support for us over the years. In Tri-Cities, we've been in Tri-Cities in this area since 1981. I think it started with Horizon Air. Greg Sullivan, our manager, is here of the Horizon presence in the Tri-Cities. But Horizon started flying to Pasco, I think, in 1981. It's an interesting part of our own corporate history. Before Alaska bought Horizon, which happened in 1987, we decided we wanted to compete with Horizon. So Seattle Pasco was one of the first markets where Alaska and Horizon were sort of duking it out. But that's been a fantastic partnership and a fantastic acquisition for Alaska. I'm guessing that you guys might have questions about air service to Pasco. And I could address those. There's actually someone here, Ben Brookman, who's way smarter than me. I might leave those for now, but I hope that you do ask a question. We get a chance to talk about that during the Q&A. Okay, so now what I think I'm going to tell you about is my own background, just a couple of minutes, how it is that I ended up in the airline business. I'm going to talk to you about the airline industry, just the conditions that we're competing in. I'll give you a little bit of a thumbnail sketch of Alaska, and I think I might actually do that before I get into the industry. And then finally, I'll talk to you about the plan that we are trying to execute to win in a highly, highly competitive business. And hopefully I don't spend too much time doing that, and then we get to your questions. My own background is my dad was a Boeing engineer, grew up in Huntsville, Alabama, 1973. He was a space program guy. That program sort of fizzled. We moved to Seattle. I was 13 years old. I went to school at Sylvester Middle School, Highline High School, which, whether you know the name or not, many of you have probably seen. If you land at SeaTac from the north, it's right off to the right side of the airplane. During high school, a lot of my buddies had girlfriends, and there was this park up where the third runway is now where they would go up to watch airplanes. And I didn't have a girlfriend, so I went up to watch airplanes. And so I ended up in the airplane business. They ended up married, and I actually ended up very happily married as well. But that's where it sort of started for me. I actually learned to fly when I was 18 or 19 at Renton Airport. It's where 737s are built by Boeing. This is what I sometimes tell people, it's the power of a role model. If I'd known any professional pilot at the time, that's what I would be today, because I love flying. But I didn't. My brother was an accountant, so I went to PLU and became an accountant. And that's sort of the accident of my life, is that the airline business had a lot of problems. There's been a lot of bankruptcies, a lot of too much debt, a lot of cash flow problems, and so I ended up as a finance guy inside an airline as we were sort of executing a turnaround. But that's a bit of my background. I did come into the airline as a controller. I call myself a bean counter all the time. I hope what I actually like working on is making the company more successful, whether that means working with a labor group on a new contract, working with Boeing or others on what sort of airplanes we're going to purchase, working with people like Ben on what markets we're going to deploy those airplanes in, how we might schedule our flight attendants and pilots, how we might build the PASCO schedule. There's a lot of algebra in an airline, and I really like working on that stuff. There's also, people are also huge, and this is what you mentioned in your intro, and you're right. The people side of the business, I've sort of come to appreciate, is more important than the algebra side of the business. So we spend a lot of time on that side of the business as well. So anyway, that's a little bit about me, a little bit about the company. We're a $5.5 billion company. As I said, that used to be big. We used to think of that as big. As we were getting bigger, what we found is the companies around us were getting bigger even faster. So as we entered the Fortune 500, somehow we felt smaller than ever. We've got 200 airplanes, 15,000 employees. We grow a lot. We have a high growth rate. We've grown at about 7 or 8% for the last 5 years. We've grown at that rate for the last 20 or the last 25 years. Our industry grows at about 2 or 3% a year, so we are a high growth company. We've been around since 1932. We're 84 years old at this point. We started in Anchorage, Alaska, flying out to Bristol Bay. And our basic objective, the basic thing we're trying to do, and things have a way of clarifying over time, but the basic thing we're trying to do is to make it, the first thing to do is survive, but we really want to survive and thrive as an independent airline. And I wish it was PASCO, it's Seattle, but an independent airline based in Seattle. The way of things in our industry has been to be acquired, to consolidate. When I joined the company, we were the 26th largest airline in the country. Today, we're the 6th, and we haven't passed anybody. All of those other companies in between were either acquired or they failed and went out of business. So that's the basic nature of things in our business, is for M&A to occur, and we are trying as hard as we can for that not to happen to us. That's the thing, and it's not. The reason we feel that way is we think we bring value as an independent company. We think we bring value to communities. We think we have a little bit different way of offering service, so we think we bring value to our customers. I believe we bring value to our employees, offering good jobs, and I hope what happens with that is mortgages get paid down and kids get sent to college and all of that. And then what we tell our employees is you may like it, you may not like it, but a requirement is you got to bring value to the owners of the business. If you actually want to come back tomorrow and play again, the people that invest in your company have to have a good experience. Okay, so that's a little bit about Alaska. The competitive landscape is interested. We are highly regulated. The industry apparently or supposedly deregulated in 1978, but it's a very highly regulated industry. It's a capital-intensive business. It's a business where you have the pricing can be you have risk of being commoditized every day. So those are some of the things. It's a labor-intensive business. And despite all of those things, it's an industry where safety is really important. You actually have to execute every day. Operational reliability is important. If we don't depart on time, get you to your destination on time, you know and you talk about it. It's an industry where low fares are important, where having an aligned employee group is important. So what I would say about our industry is it's a challenging environment. So how is the industry done with this? What I will say, the last few years have been different. I'm going to tell you about that. For most of the last 70, 80 years, it's been an unmitigated disaster. You know, it's been, if you actually look at it, I think customer service, if you go back to several years ago, there was a Fortune magazine article of sort of industries and how respected they were. And we ranked 51 out of 52 industries by Fortune magazine. We were ahead of the mobile home industry. And some of you can relate to that. There was a period of time when everyone was filing for bankruptcy when maybe 150,000 jobs were lost. Lots of cities, basically cities that had service lengths, city pairs of 500 miles or less, 65% of those city pairs lost service. The finance people in the room know what retained earnings is. That's the profit that you have over all of the years. Our industry today, after 100 years, and after all of the airlines, has negative retained earnings. The net result, and that's all the bankruptcies that you know about. One of our favorite quotes to tell people about is the Warren Buffett quote, and of course he's the investor out of Omaha. He said, if an investor had known what was going to happen to investors when the Wright brothers took off at Kitty Hawk, he would have shot them down, because this industry has not been particularly good for investors. That has changed. So everybody, several years ago, 70% of the airlines were in bankruptcy. Alaska is the one pre-deregulation airline that did not file for bankruptcy, but 70% of the airlines were in bankruptcy, and those bankruptcies were extraordinarily painful, but we did do some things that needed to happen to make the industry more healthy. Following that, there was consolidation, and the consolidation Alaska has actually been a fan of. We don't want to be consolidated ourselves, but we actually believe that has been good for industry conditions. And so since then, today you hear people talk about earnings per share, and the stock prices are doing well. Fuel prices are extraordinarily low at the moment, and that's benefiting everybody. Alaska goes out, and other airlines do as well. We say, hey, don't view us as an airline, view us as a high-quality industrial company. So compare us to DuPont or General Electric or Burlington Northern or companies like that. And for most of my life, people say an airline, it's a momentum stock. I know I'm not going to make any money. I just want to buy you at the right time and ride the volatility. But I do think people are starting to think a little bit differently about airlines as investments. So that's a little bit about the airline industry that we're operating in. Okay, so with that in mind, you might want to know a little bit about Alaska, how we think of the world, and some of the things that we're working on. And what I would just tell you from my own perspective, I sort of divide that into two categories. There's the tangible side, the things that we do, and there's the intangible side. And the tangible side is what flight service we have, and I'll talk more about that. The intangible side is leadership and employees and alignment and service. I personally think, and you all should tell me when we get to Q&A, I personally think the intangible side is why we're still here. It's what people tell me they like most about our airline, and I think it's the more important side, but it doesn't mean you can forget the tangible side. So if we start on that side, some of the things that we think about, the first one is growth, and you saw when that slide came up, we've grown a ton. We added 10 new cities last year. We've added 25 or 26 new cities in the last 5 years. We've added 90 new city pairs in the last 5 years. In our business, you got to take people where they need to go, and so it's the places like Dulles and Charleston and Raleigh and Nashville and JFK, and you guys can help me, Costa Rica, Tampa, Detroit. What am I missing, Ben? Albuquerque. Say again. Mexico. Yep, exactly. Lots of good growth there. So that's an important thing. And Hawaii. Maybe some of you've taken some of our flights to Hawaii. That's, if you go back a little bit earlier, that's been a major wave of growth for the company. So growth that's a tangible thing. We're buying a bunch of airplanes. This year we'll take delivery of 19 new 737s from the Boeing company. Beautiful new airplanes. As I mentioned earlier, and we might talk just a little bit more about it, but Horizon, we've just basically made some changes at that company that are going to enable us to bring in regional jets. And we're looking at a Bombardier product and an Embraer product. Folks like the Embraer, we sort of hear that loud and clear, but it's a beautiful 76-seat jet that would be fantastic. What it enables us to do is, A, replace the jet service with turboprop service in a lot of markets, but also that jet service is it's got first class, it's got premium economy, ovens, lavs with running water, and it's a fantastic, out of Seattle, we would fly to places like Seattle, Colorado Springs, Seattle, Milwaukee, Portland, St. Louis, places like that. It's an asset that I think might bring tremendous value to a place like Pasco or Tri-Cities as we look at giving you more nonstop service to the places that you want to go. So that's fleet. Let me just get myself caught up a little bit. On board, it's actually been, this stuff sort of goes in waves, and our job as an airline is to sort of try to discern what you all want as customers and offer you that. If people want to have a sort of a plussed up food and beverage service, that's what we should be doing. If people say, look, I really don't want to have to pay for that, what I want to do is have less of that and I'll get it myself, then we should be listening to that. But our sense in the last few years is that people want a little bit more. So some of the things we've done is and this is actually fun stuff, but we had Seattle's best coffee for a long time, and we just said, an airline like Alaska, we should have Starbucks, and they're both owned by the same company. Said we should have Starbucks, not Seattle's best. And so we basically had to arm wrestle that company to sell us their premium brand coffee. So now you can enjoy Starbucks coffee. Chateau Ste. Michelle Wines, Ted Basler is a fantastic, I know he's a huge friend to this region, a huge friend to Alaska. As we were sort of in our competitive battle starting it 2 or 3 years ago, he said, hey Brad, why don't you have Chateau Ste. Michelle Wines in first class? And I said, oh, can we afford them? And he said, yeah, I think you can. And anyway, they made a great deal, and so we're serving those wines. Tom Douglas is a well-known chef in the Seattle area, so our food is getting better in the main cabin and in first class, and it's Tom Douglas food. A year ago, you saw us make improvements to seats and add in seat power and video entertainment. Overhead bins are getting improved now. So it's a lot of that stuff that, honestly, when all these airlines were filing for bankruptcy and Alaska was fighting to not be swept up in that wave, we were saying, we can't afford this stuff, but things change over time, and we are making investments in many of those areas. On the, maybe a couple things coming, I might just say is, on the Alaska Airlines side, we are going to be introducing a premium economy section of the airplane. Right now, we kind of have one with exit rows, but what you will see starting 6 or 8 months from now is a first class section of the airplane. Following that, 5 or 6 rows of premium economy that'll be priced anywhere from like $30 to $100 to sit up in that part of the airplane. It'll have another several inches of leg room, and it'll have a little bit plussed up features in terms of food and beverage service. And that's just something that we think our customers are looking for, and then there'll be the main cabin. The credit card. We're also, I don't know if folks have the credit card. I hope you do. It's actually a very good credit card, but we work hard to keep the annual fee low. We're making a number of changes, and it actually is the lowest annual fee in the industry, but we're working to make a number of other changes permanent, such as the companion fare, which I hope some of you enjoy, a permanent free bag for anytime you fly if you've got the Alaska Airlines credit card, and lower foreign. And I'm surprised how much buzz this one got, but when you travel internationally, those foreign transaction fees can be high, and I think they're going to zero with the changes to the card. The basic way, Lori mentioned that Jim Senegal came and talked to this crowd 10 or 11 years ago, and I'll just tell you, we love the way Costco thinks. What Costco says is if they sold a bunch of this shirt a year ago, they say, oh, we bought 100, I've heard them tell the story, we bought 100,000 of those shirts last year, we're going to buy 400,000 next year, and this is what they tell the vendor. It's going to be, we paid you $12 last year, next year we're going to pay you $11 because we want it to be $1 cheaper for our customers. But by the way, you're going to put better quality buttons in. You're going to add another inch to this. You're going to use better quality fabric. They are constantly building quality in to make things better and better for their customers, and that's what we're trying to do with our credit card. Okay, on the intangible side, what I'll just say is that I'm not going to say it very articulately, or very quickly anyway, am I? Airlines can do a lot of things, and I'll just tell you, as a leader, I sort of got suspicious that, we actually moved our family from the suburbs of Seattle down to central Seattle a few years ago. But there was a guy next to me my neighbor's name was Tom Carmody, and I'd always see Tom out after work, and he flew us a lot, and he's a manufacturing rep, and I always sort of asked myself, will all these meetings that I'm sitting in the office, will Tom Carmody actually notice anything we're working on? And I don't know, I just became suspicious over time that no, we're working on a lot of things that might not actually move the needle for our customers. And so over time, it's made me more and more interested in working with our people and our leadership team. And with the leadership team, it's about simplifying our objectives, working on a smaller number of things, getting leaders to be a little bit more courageous, a little bit more bold, work on things that will move the needle for Tom Carmody. That's he's going to, hopefully someone knows him or will text him. He has no idea I'm talking about him right now. But I just think you can really complicate your life, and you can work on all these things that you sort of lose customers didn't really want them that badly, so you lose interest in them in a few months down the road. Doing a handful of things better is far more valuable for us as a business. Then the other thing is working with your frontline team to be fully aligned, to be great. And I think those of you that fly airlines out there, you can smell an airline that you can sense an airline that doesn't want you to have a great flight immediately. And one of the things we did with our folks is we brought them all in to these sessions where we called them Beyond Service Workshops. We played that video you saw. We basically talked to them a lot about the history of the company, the legacy of the company. We talked about their role in presenting our product and our service. We basically told them that anything you ever do, if you're trying to make things better for customers, we got your back. We might say, don't do it again, but we've got your back. You're never, ever going to lose your job. You're not going to be disciplined. Nothing bad is going to happen from you trying to make things better for our customers. We told them they liked that. We brought this notion of sort of there's a minimum level of service standard, and then there's an above and beyond area that we call living in the green. So Alaska people, if you fly with us, you can talk to them, are you living in the green? And I bet they'll know what that means. What's the fun? Oh, we showed them the math behind J.D. Power is something we're super proud of. We've won it for 8 years in a row, and we showed them the math. We showed them the science behind J.D. Power. And the basic idea there was that if you know what we have to do to keep doing well with customer service, you can help us keep doing that. Then at the end, you simply say, are you in? Are you guys on board? Will you help us continue to make this company strong? And again, the big idea here is to keep the company independent. And the lady that runs IBM, her name is Virginia Rometty. She basically says, look, the best defense is performance. And that's how we think. If we want to be independent, all we got to do is perform. And we got to be safe. We got to be on time. We have to have great service. There's no gimmicks. Great service, low fares, good employer, good in communities, good for the owners. And it's not easy, but it actually is simple. So that's what we actually talk to our employees about. So I think I'm getting to the end of, I was going to talk about our brand for a minute, I guess. So we actually rolled out a new brand about a month ago. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to see this or react to it. I'll just tell you and you can sort of sense from some of the remarks I've already made, we're super proud of what we have at Alaska. One of the things I think about our company is that our brand is actually very good defensively. Like in our markets, there actually is a lot of loyalty, and people are willing to fly with us. It hasn't been great offensively. And so what I mean by that is when we go into Raleigh, North Carolina, or Charleston, South Carolina, people don't know who we are. And a lot of times it's sort of, you get a little bit of a complex. There'll be a survey in USA Today, and it'll show 6 or 7 airlines, 2 of which are way smaller than us, and we won't be on the list of airlines. And so one of the conclusions we had is we in this industry, we do need to keep growing. And to keep growing, we need to be more seen as a sort of nationally, we sort of want to be seen as from the Northwest, part of the Northwest, but relevant nationally. So that's a little bit what we're trying to do with this brand. The Eskimo is strong and proud. What we're trying to do is make him a little simpler, a little more optimistic, more confident. Performance is something we really believe in as a company, so we sort of wanted the look and feel of the brand to stand for performance. So that's something there. Okay, so there was the final thing I did want to talk about is giving back, and I should have talked about this before I sort of moved to close, but I'll just say one more time that I do think for all businesses, we've got a responsibility to not just sort of be here and be business people and exploit the economy for our own short-term or present gain, but to make sure that you're helping create a system where you can do, where your company will do good 20, 30, 40 years down the road, but other companies will as well. And that's why you all are here. You don't have to be here on at noon on a Thursday. It's the sort of people you are. I know that you think this way, but I'll just tell you that Alaska does feel the same way. So more and more we do give away $10 million a year. More and more we're focusing that money towards kids and economically disadvantaged kids in particular. So I'll just say that's a belief that we have. So as I wrap up, I want to thank you. You've been very kind. You've listened. As I said earlier, my favorite part of these is the chance for us to engage with you. I might introduce an incredible team from Alaska as I do so. Greg Sullivan, I already mentioned, is our manager in the Tri-Cities. Yeah, how about you guys? I'll introduce 7 or 8 people and then clap for them all. Tim Ackman is general manager in sales. Jennifer Clark is a director in sales. Candace Payne lives in Spokane. She's a sales. She handles the Tri-Cities area. Tony Williams is a consultant to the company, fantastic guy. Megan Wallette is a managing director in government affairs. And Ben Brookman is the one I'm betting I'm going to be able to hand a question or two. He's a total stud. He works in our network planning department, so he knows the people at the Pasco Airport well, and he's the one that decides when the airplanes take off where they go. He decides where they land. So what questions are on your mind? How about the gentleman at the second table back first, and then the gentleman in front?
Yeah, so love the holy cow. Love the airline. Only bad experience is when you made me fly on a Boise State plane. That was painful, but you guys have done a lot of innovative things for the airline industry. How do you foster that culture of innovation with your leadership team and your frontline employees?
Am I on this setting? Maybe I'll come back here. Culture is powerful with that stuff. We had a leader named John Kelly. Some of you guys remember 20 years ago, and I was kind of a low-level guy in the finance division, and he just, with technology, he instinctively believed in it. And he basically said, look, finance is not going to say no. You know, he said, I'm going to ensure that the finance department doesn't say no to these technology investments. And so Alaska did. 1995, we were the first airline anywhere in the world to sell a ticket over the internet. We introduced kiosks, first airline globally to introduce kiosks, the first airline to let you check in from home and print out your boarding pass. These are like global firsts. I'm not sure mobile. I know we were a leader with. So I don't. It's actually. There's not. We don't have formal programs. There's not innovation spawning labs. There's not. But what I will say is we sort of honor those people, and we have an empowering culture, and we do. I think we do have expectations. We have expectations that we are issuing press releases regularly with things that Tom Carmody and our other customers want, like, and can use. And one of the things with technology in our business is it actually, it's all been, I mean, a mentality we have is that you all as customers want control of your lives. So if we can get you out of a line in the airport and give you information on your phone or on your computer at home, let you choose your own seat, we basically think you want that. It's also a cost-efficient solution for us. So these things have all had, it hasn't been in our business there are brainers and there are no-brainers. You know, investing in technology has been a no-brainer for us. So, I hope that addresses your question. And
shifting from the airline industry to retail, I see you're on the board of Nordstrom's now. I guess effective yesterday?
Yes, sir.
And now that you're in that role, could you help our community get a Nordstrom store here?
This could be the shortest directorship I ever. Yeah, I'll promise it, right? That.
despite our small population size, relatively speaking, we would love to have it.
Yeah.
And you are now in a unique position
Thank you,
to
sir.
maybe assist.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, I will just say, I'll work on that. I won't promise anything, but I was really honored to be asked to join the Nordstrom board. They're a company that does customer service extraordinarily well. And we are proud of how we handle customer service, but I think we can probably learn from Nordstrom. So I'm super excited about that. And we'll work on the Pasco store. Yes. What are the questions? Yes, ma'am, back in the back.
Hi, Brad. I had a chance to thank you earlier. My name's Chris Watkins with Visit Tri-Cities. Yeah. And I want to thank you so much for your partnership with our wine industry and our tourism industry.
Yeah.
And as you know, we have a taste and tote program.
Yes.
And your cases of wine fly free to anywhere in the nation, providing that you travel on Alaskan Airlines. And the wineries, in turn, offer free wine sampling. So I want to again thank you because you are helping us as a Tri-City region position ourselves as the heart of Washington wine country. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Chris. Yeah. You know, it's I'll just say it's our honor to do that stuff. It's a little humbling, and you all work for businesses too, but we all sort of come together and we form the fabric of an economy. And I mean, I'm glad we're doing that. I'm really happy, but it's actually in all of our interests to work together to grow economies. And I mean, it's a comment I was going to make in my speech is that, like, one of the great things about coming on this side of the mountains is you guys actually get that economic growth is good, that businesses growing is good, W-2 production is good, people making incomes that can pay for families and college educations. And sometimes the city I live in, everybody doesn't always see it that way. So I'll just say we're honored to be here and do what I would say is our very little part, but I know everybody in the room, you're all doing your own part to keep this economy doing well, and I know you're doing really well. So what other questions? A couple back here.
Hi, my name's Ted Voss, and I'll be traveling next Thursday from here to Southern California on Alaska.
Thank you, sir.
And I travel quite a bit on Alaska, but it would be wonderful to be able to leave here at 7 and get there by 10 instead of 1:30.
Yeah.
I have to go to Portland. What's the likelihood of us getting that gate here and getting that route direct to LA?
So this is Ben Brookman. He's going to answer this question. Yeah. I answer the easy ones. He answers the hard one. But Ben, thanks, Brad. Can we have a flight from Pasco to LA?
Okay, so let's talk about it. So something that Brad did mention that is actually really important is the regional jet growth. So that is historically not something that this company has had a lot of. We do have several new regional jets coming in, whether they're the 175 or the CRJ. If you look at the stage length of that market, that is the right thing to do for Pasco to LA. So we recognize that there's a lot of community support behind that service, and that it is the largest single market from Pasco that Southern California. You know, there is no nonstop service, so it's something we're taking a look at. We do see a lot of opportunity with that airplane, so it's something that we want to take a really close look at. Something that I'm really proud of is the success rate that we've had with our markets over the last 5 years. So when we do something, we want to make sure it's going to be there for the long run, and it's going to be sustainable, and that we don't need to rely on anything other than the fundamentals in our customers in that market to make it work. So it's something we're taking a close look at. And as the planes,
how encouraged should people here be?
well, you know, it's we have airplanes coming. I think our growth we are a growth company, but we have a number of incremental regional jets coming in any given year. But the list is long, so we're taking a look at a lot of different things.
Nicely done. Yeah. I think I might say a little bit more about Ben is an extraordinarily talented guy. He's got a magic touch, and Alaska has added. Every time we go into a new city, we have a guess. Sometimes we'll choose a proxy. We'll say we think this market's going to perform like Seattle, New Orleans, and maybe Seattle, Nashville. We think it's going to perform like Seattle, New Orleans, and he and his team do a remarkable job of forecasting well. But I personally think you guys should be encouraged about service like that. It's a fantastic jet. It's the sort of thing it was made for. You are a large city. I think it's hard to say when, but I do think cities like Pasco, Spokane, Missoula, Redmond, Oregon, cities like that with some economic base and some population, I think you should be encouraged about what you're going to see in the next several years. Yeah, another question back here.
Yeah, Brad, I'm probably one of your older customers here and there. I've been flying you guys since 1962 when you had 4 jets in the air, 2 on each wing of your Boeing
that was an old ad.
880.
Yeah.
I also flew your 1649s for a number of times, but I'd like to say that you guys have come a long way, baby. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The gentleman's referring, in the old days, I can't remember who the competition was, but we were trying to make ourselves look bigger than we were in the Seattle Anchorage market. So we said 4 daily jets to Seattle Anchorage, 4 daily jets, and it was 4 engines on one airplane. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Employees that are just really dedicated. In fact, there's probably a couple employees that could name half
Yeah.
of us in this room.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Well, so thank you, sir. Greg, how about we'll have some fun here. Greg, are you willing to come up and just introduce yourself and tell the Greg Sullivan is our Tri-City Station Manager. Maybe just people can put a name with a face and tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Greg Sullivan. I'm actually from here, from the Tri-Cities. I'm actually from Burbank, just outside of Pasco. I've been with the company for 22 years. Started with Horizon in 1994 here at the Pasco station as just an agent, and from there I worked in Portland, Seattle. Most recently, I was a station manager in Walla Walla, and I've been here about 8 months. So it's been a wonderful transition to the Pasco station. So, as of course everybody knows, Nancy and Sean in the morning are just wonderful there at the ticket counter. Everybody knows, one thing that I really do appreciate is the Alaska listens that we receive for any of our agents. Please, if you have any issues, please fill out the Alaska listens. I spend a lot part of my day and really talk about innovation. That's how we get better, because we learn what we're doing, not what we're doing wrong, and so we can learn to try to fix it and to get back to you folks. And hopefully we don't lose too many bags and we don't delay too many flights, but we try to make things right for our passengers. And I think that's one thing that we went to the training seminars with Beyond Service to learn about customer service and to get down on a level with the passenger to where we're equal with them and we listen to them and just empathize with the passenger. So that's what we strive to do. And if we fall short, please let me know. I'm hoping that we can get that service to LA too. I'm right down here with Ben here, doing my best. But anyways, we got our 6 flights to Seattle and 1 to Portland. So thanks everyone for the service.
Alaska, while we're looking for the next, Alaska Listens is it's an online customer feedback, and people like Greg, it's what's different about it at Alaska is you could say positive or negative. If it's positive, kudos go to our employees. If it's negative, people that are in a position to fix it get back to the customer, and our goal is it 48 hours or 72 hours? 24 hours. But it's something like 8% of the feedback is stuff that we can do better, and whether it's a flight attendant supervisor or a station manager, we actually, when we call that customer, we say, well, I didn't enjoy calling that customer, so I've got a strong incentive to fix that for the next person. A gentleman back here.
Yeah, my name is Jeff Morgan. I'm customer experience lead for McCurley Integrity Dealerships, and I'm glad you talked about Alaska Listens, because my question was about, you talked about a focus of actually listening to what your customers want instead of focusing on things that you think they want.
Yes.
What are some of the strategies you've deployed aside from Alaska Listens that have gotten you that quality feedback to be able to make those changes and focus on those things? And what are some of the strategies you've deployed that have not been successful in getting that quality information?
Yeah. You know, it's I might display some bias here, but like in this day, you guys have heard the term big data. And so like airlines have all kinds of data about customers, and our company is investing in big data. It might be through the credit card, it might be through the mileage plan, seeing where you travel, all of that stuff. And I don't want to do too much to poo-poo that stuff. But the anecdote is also super valuable. We're a company that we can walk around the terminal and talk to a customer. And if one customer had an experience, good or bad, in the old days we'd say, we need data. Sort of my mentality today is, let's assume that's fact. Let's assume that's what happened to everybody until proven otherwise. And I think that's actually Alaska's special sauce, is we do get out. We all fly our airplanes all the time. We sit in the main cabin. We talk to flight attendants. Every single flight we go onto the flight deck and check with pilots. We see customers in our community. We see customers in settings like this. And I just think you got a bunch of people that want that. I'll just say with the competition that we have, the incentive for us to improve to be the best we can have is very, very high. So we wake up every morning extraordinarily focused. And I don't know, so we've got tools and data and systems and all that, but I actually think people that care is a bigger deal. And we got a lot of those. Yes, sir.
So Brad, this is an unfair question, because for 10, 15, I don't know how many years, gas prices, fuel prices have been sky high.
Yeah.
And so now, 6, 12 months later, to ask about that. But I'm more curious, because you had to deal with it for so many years, but I'm more curious about what your strategies are, what your thoughts are with that, what's happening with fuel right now.
Sure. I'll just chat about that a little bit. Our company buys 500 million gallons of fuel a year, so I think a penny is $5 million, or a penny price a penny change in the price of fuel, and fuel's come down by well over $1 in the last 24 months, maybe $1.50. So it's just a massive, massive driver. We do hedge fuel. In the old days, we hedged more, and we hedge with something called a call option. So we basically pay a fixed fee to say if prices go up, someone writes us a check. If prices go down, we benefit from the lower prices. That's the way we hedge. Hedging actually hasn't been several years ago. Hedging was a big driver, and people were writing us checks. It hasn't been a big driver recently. What might be more interesting to folks is, as fuel prices came down, if you actually sort of look at airline stocks and what analysts are saying about airline stocks, at first the analyst community had this attitude that fares shouldn't come down at all, and they really got on airlines that lowered fares. Or what really happens in our space is the first thing you do is grow capacity, and then you got those extra seats out there, and the extra seats sort of incent airlines to bring fares down to fill them. But the analysts they just punished airlines for growing capacity, lowering fares, and passing on lower fuel prices to customers. What I would say is that's actually what's happening right now. So our unit revenues are down, Ben, 5%. Actually, these couple of months they're down quite a bit more than that. But for the fourth quarter and for the first quarter as an average, maybe our unit revenues are down 5 or 6%. And I think most analysts think that's going to continue to happen. What is happening is airlines are growing. Alaska, as I've told you, we've always grown a lot, but actually everybody's growing a fair bit right now. And so I think you'll see more service, you'll see more seats, and as airlines compete to fill those seats, the revenue management systems will bring fares. I think fares will continue to come down, and customers will benefit, and that's how it should be. Any other questions? This gentleman here, and this looks like there's one over there.
So you talked about growth, and something that is going to be an ever-growing population with their revenue and their disposable revenue is going to be the millennial population. What is Alaska doing to capture that?
So the millennial population, who can help me with this? Jennifer, do you want to talk about this? Yeah. I'm going to have to remind myself, is that my kids? Which population? That's my children? Okay. Millennial population. Yeah. Yeah, they're all living with their parents, so they're not spending money on housing. So, yeah. So, yeah.
So tools that the kids are using.
Yeah, yeah.
So as far as the internet and some of the tools that the kids are using?
And the tools that you should use. Sorry. There are varying studies that you can look at that talk about the best way to capture millennials and the different places they're going to be and what's important to them. So I wanted to understand more about what Alaska is using that will benefit your company and continue that growth.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So yes, and we have a very large PR organization, and you know, all the millennials today, they use all the tools that are out there, such as Instagram and the internet and all that. And I actually have an 18-year-old son myself, so very aware of all of that. But we are constantly updating. We have a team of individuals at our corporate office that update information on those tools all the time, send data out. And a question that was just asked about just how do we get information out there. And, you know, we had a couple that was married on an airplane Friday night. I don't know if any of you saw that in the press. And the flight attendant that got married, it was a flight attendant, the information, a YouTube video was actually downloaded by the time she landed the plane, or the time the plane landed. So, you know, we realize that information is getting out there all the time, and, you know, trying to keep that positive, but also in relation to the last question that was asked, just getting that feedback and then responding quickly out there as well, because everything just communicates so quick. So did that answer your question? Somewhat? Okay. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so who knows who our chief football officer is? Everyone aware of that? Russell Wilson, yeah. So we also have had a wonderful relationship with Russell Wilson, especially when he just renewed his contract with the Seahawks. We also renewed our contract with him for the next 5 years. And he is honored to be, or we're honored to have him as Alaska's chief football officer. So we do a lot with Russell, especially postseason in the community. We do a lot of charitable events and community events out there. And he's been absolutely fantastic. And even Russell on his own in the Seattle community and in the Pacific Northwest gets out and does a lot with Children's Hospital and various organizations. So we're really excited to have that wonderful relationship with him, and he comes out to some of our events as well. That's great.
He's got like 1.5 million Instagram followers, and he posts about us, and so it helps sort of grow the network. Thank you, Jennifer. Super answer. Yeah. Are we at that time? Alrighty. Thank you very, very much. It's been our honor to be here. We'll see you guys next time.